just this guy, when he finished searching my stuff, it was a young guy, man. We were just chatting, you know. I think he was a new guy at the job. Me and him were just chatting, and then the older guy was sitting next to him. He asked him that, did he check me thoroughly? And then he said yes. And then the old man asked, did you check his bag, the one that is here? So I had my passport and everything, but the drugs were underneath. And then I was like, damn, this old man, what is he doing now?
Well, what it does. Welcome to the Intentional Conversations podcast, a podcast where we get to explore life, faith, creativity, and everything in between. Today, I've got a phenomenal and a special guest, a good friend of mine called Shepard, who I've known for a couple years now. The first time Satibana at a cafe and with Uxola.
Yeah.
And so it's called Gangster Cafe at the time. The Mess Cafe.
Gangster. It was Gangster.
But before it was the Mess.
Yeah, it was the Mess, and then
when I was still part of the bookshop.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that was a long time.
That was a long time, man.
Like one or two tables.
So you were there, actually. We met at the beginning.
We met right at the beginning. Yeah, we met right at the beginning. And I was always drawn to Histori Sako. Not because of the story, but because of who you are now. I'm very excited to have this conversation. We had it the last time, but guess content yetu yalahleka. I'd love to. Ukhulele welqala.
Khulele eKhayelitsha, Elita Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about growing up eKhayelitsha and the family situation. Wakhula njani?
Yeah, it was a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm grateful that utata wami wakwazi ba asuke from Eastern Cape and secure indawo enje yavo thina engafundanga fundini. Lita Park is a place where you get abantu like back then.
Yeah.
It was for nurses, teachers, like abantu abasebenzela government.
Yes.
So yeah, also my father was a driver, was working for the government. But yeah, and then he secured a place there, so which was great. Life was good, man. You know, I was fortunate enough to be raised by both parents. It was a nice, quiet neighborhood. We were those kids that will like to, after school, you sit like a PlayStation.
Yes.
And you will play cricket during the weekend.
Outside.
It was a quiet. That time it was a TV game, ne?
Yeah,
it was
a TV game.
These days you got these things.
PlayStation,
Xbox.
Yeah, Xboxes.
It was a TV game.
Let's offer cassette.
Exactly that one. Exactly that one. So yeah.
Nobody used to play it at like one person's house. Call a lobshita that you had that had the nong and when it call it pan abazali bathi lina nibulala TV ngale play TV game
yo. Yeah, man. So life was good growing up as a young boy. I think izinto ziqale utshintsha as I'm heading towards teenage stage.
Yeah.
I think the only part during my childhood that was a bit difficult for Uxolani. I'm known by Uxolani eKhayelitsha.
Sure.
Uxolani, they used to call me X, but now Shepard is the name that I have sort of like since I accepted Christ as my Lord, the name that I've embraced now. But yeah, man, Uxolani growing up, he had a challenge, he had a challenge at school where I was struggling. I was struggling at school with reading and writing. So my childhood, it was that part that was so difficult for me. Even though, yes, would play with other kids, but me as a young boy, I had that secret that I carried, which affected my schooling years. I actually really resented going to school, man. It was difficult for me to go to school.
Every single time that actually I was ufunda and also I was not bad.
Yeah, so uye esikolweni was something like I was not looking forward to. But I would dress very proper. I was always neat, always fully full uniform,
So that
time.
abantu would not expect that sort of behavior from you.
Not that. I think I just love dressing nice.
Yes.
Not that the cover up of a dress code. It happened outside of school.
Sure.
With
Sure.
fashion.
Yeah.
Chasing the nice clothes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is where the cover up was.
Sure.
So, I think it was around about grade 6 where things became very tough for me, because now as the grades were going up, it was really difficult, especially the area of reading, So
you were from grade 1 to grade 6. Ubunga was phone.
Yeah, and I did not.
And also Ubunga was upala as well.
Yeah.
So you could not read.
I could write from the board, writing notes. I could write notes, but to write spelling on my own, I struggled.
So you could write because you could see it on the board.
Yeah, it's there.
But
So I could.
Ubunga was actually uzibhalele wena ngokwakho.
Yeah. Up until grade 6.
Then what happened?
I don't understand how I got there, but I found myself there. And grade 6, what happened, the moment that actually changed the journey for me was actually the most thing that I feared at school. Each and every day I would go to school, like to be asked to read in front of the class. So it eventually happened during grade 6. Yeah. So a class in they will they will give everyone 10s, but it happened that time came. It was early. I still remember even now. It was a first period. I didn't expect it that day. That day would turn out like that, but I was in a good mood. It was a beautiful morning, and it happened. I was called out to read. I was sitting in the front desk, and the first thing that came to my mind was, damn, I could see the door. I was on the far left of the class, and I could see the door, man. The first thing that came to my mind ran, as I was running towards the door, the teacher grabbed me and trying to shook myself and ran off class, and I ran straight home.
Sure.
Because it was embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
I panicked. I think what made me to run was panic. And because of Benile Ndwana late to disrupt class, because I was hiding from this thing.
You were a cool guy. I was
a cool guy, and I enjoyed when in class it was just chaotic. Yeah. So I was one of those people who would play around, make jokes, So yeah, that time it caused a panic, and I ran. Got home, my mother asked me, "Why are you here?" And then I said, no, the teacher, he smacked me. I lied. And the situation got worse. Sure. So eventually, my mother wanted to go to school to confront the teacher. And we were there by the principal's office. And I was like, damn, this is becoming
a big thing
now. And actually, I lied about the teacher, So, yeah, to cut that long story short, after that incident, I told myself, you know what, me and the teacher, we could not see eye to eye after that. But yeah, I moved to another class, and then grade 7. And then when I started smoking now at grade 7.
Grade 7.
Yeah, and then I started smoking now.
And you got into
class.
Smoking because of friends, or was it some form of escapism?
Listen, man, my smoking habit, I did not plan it. I did not get into it because of friends. I was just this day, this older guy in the neighborhood asked me to walk with him. He was going to a field, so that is where he usually smokes. So because of I liked the guy, and then I accompanied him to where he usually smokes. So as he was doing his thing there, smoking, and then he said, "Do you want to try?" And then I did not think, I just tried it. And then from that day, and he was smoking weed. From that day, I got high. So that experience of getting high, I enjoyed it because it made me so happy.
Especially at that young age.
Yeah, it made me happy. I was laughing, and I could forget also what I'm going through. And then the habit became more. And eventually smoking led to alcohol. And then when I went to grade 8, high school now, I actually went to high school even telling myself that, listen, school, books and me, we don't go together. Yeah. I became so resentful towards books. And then I told myself, okay, in high school, I hear that you can do as you please. So I decided just to hang around the sun. There's a place they used to call it a sun city, just behind the classes. Yeah. We call it a sun city.
Sure,
it's crazy just to think about it.
Sure.
So yeah, I started coming late, and then when you are late, you can't go to the class, and then you go stay in the sun city. That is where now I made these friends, because I was already smoking, so I would smoke there. And then I met some friends there. And yeah, man, eventually the friend that I had during the weekend, he stayed in a neighborhood in Khayelitsha called East Section. The area is known by gangs and carrying people that are carrying guns. Yeah. So I'm from Little Park, and I'm going to East Section. So I need to act, as someone who's tough. So at that time, actually, I didn't have a gun. My father had a licensed firearm. So I took that to East Section. Unfortunately, this weekend that I took the gun, there was someone who was actually fighting with a brother of this friend of mine. So this guy broke the windows of my friend's house, and then my friend asked for the gun. And damn, I was like, this is my father's gun, but I could not say that to him because I was acting as if it's my weapon. Then I gave to him. He shot the guy. After he shot the guy,
Did the guy die?
No, he didn't die. But at that time it was happening, man. It was not sort of like a big deal because we were drunk. It happened that on Wednesday, I remember the day. It was a Wednesday when the cops came to. I even forgot about the thing because I was drunk. On the Wednesday, the cops came at school to take us. So that is when also now, when the cops took us, and then we were arrested, and then we were released because we were minors. But when we went back to school on a Monday, yay, man, I became so famous. Became popular.
Because now you're actually known as Kolwen that...
Damn, this guy,
he's a big young guy. He's a young guy, but look at his Ndwazenza. It actually gets celebrated. You actually got respect.
Yo, bro, I got the respect, and, I'm at that stage where even... like girls, you know when you're at that stage, you want girls.
You want girls, and now they want you because now you are a man, indoda. I'm so bad, so indoda, guys.
Yo, it's so foolish, man. It's so foolish to think about it now, but it happened that way, and then that led me into doing like serious stuff now, drinking, and then at the school I was sort of like given a transfer because of that incident. Yeah. But deep down, Lux, to tell you the honest truth, I was not happy, man. I was not happy. It's not like I enjoyed that. I know that I was just living a lie, Deep down, I was just battling with this thing, I wish that I could be like the other kids. There were other kids that from primary to high school that were my friends, that were focused in their schooling. Yeah. So those guys, I respected them, I loved them, and I wanted to become like them. I'm like, damn, these guys, they're smart, Yeah. I wanted to study, and I wanted to become a social worker. I wished I could read, but this thing was just there, and I felt like, damn, man. I felt like, I don't know, bruh, my self-esteem, like it broke me. That is when now I hide that thing through dressing nice, alcohol, even if I would be in clubs drinking, but during the week, it will always come to my mind when I'm sober, just before sleep, it will always come to my mind.
Sure.
Why are you living like this?
Yeah.
This is not the life that I want.
Yeah.
I want to become successful. I want to become someone, who's doing good, not only for himself, but even for others, which is why I wanted to become a social worker. And most of the time, I enjoyed watching movies that had to do with education, like Mind. I enjoyed such movies. So I left school grade 9 because now I was also involved in another shootout. And then my father that time decided, listen, you're going to die. So in order for you, I think he wanted to tempt me, if I could use the word, like to stop me from doing
this,
the wrong stuff, drinking and carrying guns. He decided to take me to the bush. So I was 17 that time. So I was like, okay, it's fine. Let me go to the bush.
Sure.
And then I went to the bush, Eastern Cape, Equa. I'm from Equa.
Oh.
So yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, sure. So then I came back, and then he said, listen, now you need to work because you're a man. And I was like, damn, that's okay because I don't want to go to school anyway. So I started working. At that time, I think I was 17.
Yo, what it do? Would love for you to please support us and be a partner with us on Patreon, where you'll help us be able to create more and more of this material. I want to say thank you to all the people who have been supporting and who will continue to support the work that we are doing. We cannot do this without you. Thank you for supporting. If you'd love to, please make sure that you click on the link below and support us on Patreon. Yeah, so you came out of the bush and you're happy now because you actually didn't want to go back to school.
Yeah.
You're in grade 9. You're in grade 9, man.
Yeah.
And you're 17.
Yeah.
You just came back from the bush.
Yeah. So came back from the bush. I'm a Makwalas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, damn, yeah. Also another respect that I received. But when I came back, I had to go to school. Just before the conversation with my father of me having to go to work, I had to go back to school because I went to the bush in December, and then January went to school, and then I felt like, hey, this thing is not for me, man. I'm here, and I would skip days, not go, and then that's where my father now said, listen, I think the best way, you should find work.
Yeah.
We're in the water anyway.
Yeah.
You need to, and then he shared about himself, how he came from the bush, he worked,
Yeah.
So I said, no, I think if my father was able to set himself to where he was, let me go work and save some money and try to forget about the school and education and all that stuff. And then I looked for work and I found work. But during my days of ukusebenza, still I was not happy.
Sure.
Yeah.
You were working where?
So my first job was in Tiger Valley. I was working for Kauai there.
Okay.
Yeah, so man, still I was earning money and I was dressing nice. I'm young, I really loved clothes, man,
Yeah.
I love clothes, I love cologne and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just a ladies' man, to distract my mind from the issues
things
of
you were
life.
feeling, yeah.
So, but yeah, I worked and I was drinking, and I would always have this thing, when I'm alone at my place in my room, I'll always think about this thing. Bro, this is not the life, man.
So it just never left you.
It never left me. It was a constant reminder. I would say now, I think the enemy just made sure that he will always put that in front of me. Listen, you can't read. Even sometimes I will think like, hey, even the girlfriend that you have will find out that you can't read. Hey, it was a crazy thing. Damn. It was just there to break me, you know. It was just there to break me. I remember when I moved from Tiger Valley working, I think I was working in town that time. I'll go to town, library. When the library, the old library where it was just too close to Golden Egg. Yeah, I would go there. No, it moved, I think, just
somewhere
not
else.
far,
Okay.
next to there. Yeah. But I would go there and I would just watch people reading, and I would just go checking what we shelves, and I'll be like, damn. The funny thing is, I never reached out, you know, and there was a part of me that wanted to reach out, and there was a part of me that hoped that one day I would find help to someone, you know, and I would also be like, damn, maybe I'm the only one, you know. So this thing, I can't share it with anyone. You know, people would laugh at me. You know, so it was that bad until I got during my working times. Then the habit of alcohol. I eventually stopped working because now I was drinking too much, and then
so now you got a job.
Yeah.
And normally you are just sell.
Yeah. But
you're just drinking this money.
I'm just drinking nonstop, not because of fun, but because of like
there's this stress, there's this pain, and you are just trying to suppress it with the joal. So ubu selling a weekend, but then it actually would bleed into the week
it would
as
bleed
well.
into Sunday, and then it would affect my work. I would not go to work.
Yeah.
And then I lost umsebenzi bendinayo, even though I was doing quite well emsebenzini, you know. I was very loved. I always carried this favor where people will just love me, the bosses, the colleagues, you know. The hand of God has been
evident in your life.
Yeah, very strong. So, but just this area. Then during that period of me not working, that is when now I got involved into drug trafficking. And then I did that in the hopes of, because my father passed away.
So when did he pass away?
2010. He passed away 2010, and then my younger brother was doing grade 11 that time. Yeah, he was about to go to grade 12. That was 2011. So my father passed away 2010, and then I'm left now with this responsibility of, because I'm the eldest son, to take care of the family.
Umama wako is where during this time?
Yeah, my mother, she's there. You know, she's there. She's working. She's a domestic worker. Okay. But yeah, and then this thing now is like, my father is not there, you know.
And now uhleli endlini because you of this alcohol that you've been consuming, you've lost umsebenzi, uhleli endlini. And so how does the whole drug trafficking come about? Was it through a friend? Was it through something?
It was through a friend. Yeah, it was through a friend.
That you knew through your drinking?
Someone that I met in the club, you know. And then he asked how much hey, Fetu, this is what I'm doing. And then I said, okay, you know what, let me try it, man, you know. Because I was telling myself this lie that, okay, you know what, if I can get, you know, because this guy was telling me that, listen, you can get like 100,000, you know, just by going for 2 weeks. And I'm like, damn, I need this money. You know, with this money, I can help my brother, you know, finish his studies. Then if he can do well at school because he's smart, then we can have someone who can sort of like back the family up, you know. So I must make sure that he gets the best education.
Sure.
You know, I'm willing to do anything for him. So I went on my first journey. got back,
No, wait, let's talk about this first
Yeah.
journey. What year is it now? Is it still 2010?
It's 2011 now.
This is 2011.
Yeah, this is
now.
2011 now.
And you are promised how much?
Now I'm promised 100K.
You're promised 100K in 2011.
Yeah.
Yo,
So
that is a lot of money.
and
for
I'm like, damn,
2011.
for 2 weeks, that's a lot of money. I'm just going to collect. I'm traveling to Brazil. I've never traveled.
You've never been on a plane?
I've never been on a plane. I'm like, okay, let me do this. I'm only given a piece of paper of a number of someone that I will call when I get to. I think my first stop was in Buenos Aires in Argentina. So I went to Argentina. I stayed 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I traveled to Sao Paulo with a bus.
Wow.
During that time, I'm just also on the bus thinking, damn, what have you gotten yourself into?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm there, I remember when the plane left Cape Town and I was just watching the ocean. The ocean is so big. I'm like, there's no turning back. I'm gone.
You're gone. There's no going back.
Yeah, there's no going back, bro. So
Do you know how much sort of drugs you're carrying?
Honestly, during that time, I think I can't pick up pinpoint the burden, but I carried a lot. Yeah, it was a lot
because of the benefit that you were getting.
Yeah.
How are you transporting these drugs across?
So we swallow.
So you swallow the drugs.
Yeah, I swallow the drugs.
So like a packet, a fag.
Yeah, you just swallow the drugs. There's a packaging that is done.
Okay.
To keep it safe. Yeah, so I swallowed the drugs, and then I came back.
You must have swallowed a lot of drugs.
Yeah, I swallowed a lot, bro, and I came back. So I traveled through Dubai. When I was coming back, I was...
No, tell us. So you tell us, okay, no, let's go there. I like this. So you on your first trip, you're on a flight, your first stop is Buenos Aires, you literally go in another country, they speak Spanish, where you only know English and it's closer. And now you're on a bus to Sao Paulo, which is a lot of hours because it's you in Argentina to Brazil.
Yeah, it's a lot of hours. It was like a day or two, yeah.
It's like a 2-day
journey,
2-day journey. And you stay in Sao Paulo for how long?
I stayed in Sao Paulo for... Actually, I was supposed to stay, like I said, it was for 2 weeks, but I overstayed because now the stuff that I was waiting for from Colombia, it did not come because of some complications that happened. Then I had to stay.
Stuff were you waiting for?
So that's coke. That's cocaine. Yeah,
so you
because
were
I
waiting.
only transporting cocaine.
So you were waiting for the cocaine to come from Colombia to you?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Yeah, no, I don't know why. I was just there to collect. But from hearing, it was supposed to come from that side.
So when you were bringing a stash, and then from Colombia, they're bringing in another stash as a go, and when you just transported?
Yeah. Me, I'm just
when are you just the middle guy? You're just transporting
they call it a mule.
You're a mule.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's the name for it.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but I heard that there was some complications, and then I didn't bother.
You didn't ask?
Because it's not.
So you stayed there for 6?
So I stayed for 6 months.
How was it? Tell us about the
life
in
It was
Brazil.
nice because I was a tourist there.
Wow.
I enjoyed it, man. I learned to speak.
Who are you staying with? Like, how is you just like in another country?
So I stayed in a place called, I didn't stay actually in a hotel in the town. I stayed in a place called Boa Vista. So Boa Vista is just outside of the city.
Okay.
You pass another beautiful place called Paulista. You just travel just close to sort of like Ikasiako.
Sure.
So I stayed there.
Favelas.
Yeah, the favelas, yeah. People say South Africa is tough. They don't know. It's tough that side.
They don't know,
Yeah.
They don't know.
You know, people, they say
South Africans
South Africa is beautiful.
South Africans complain about South Africa until you leave. And until you hear what actually happens in other countries, we don't know what we have.
Yeah, so that is when I really appreciated South Africa because you would watch the news there, you're like watching a movie, you know. So, but we don't see the news of that side, you know, and then we think that side because for me, when I thought of like you're going to Brazil, you know, I know Brazil through the soccer.
Yeah.
So
These nice
I'm
beaches,
like, damn, there is nice.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but life actually, being a foreigner there, the locals they're very welcoming.
embrace you.
Yeah,
Yeah, they bring you in.
They all think that South Africa or Africa we're in a zoo.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they will always ask me about the animals. And then I'll be like, yo, this place is not nice. Where I'm coming from is very nice. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I learned because I had to learn to speak, like to greet people or to go buy bread or wherever
So you
I'm
learned
going.
Spanish?
So I had to learn some few Spanish words. That 6 months, actually, I was getting better at Portuguese,
Oh, so it's actually Portuguese. It's not.
It's Portuguese, not Spanish. It's Portuguese.
Does
Guys,
Argentina speak Spanish?
they speak Spanish and Peru, Spanish, Argentina, those and Peru, Spanish, yeah.
But in Brazil, it's Portuguese.
It's Portuguese, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I was speaking Portuguese there. El Fala, they call it Fala Portuguese.
Wow.
So yeah, man, I stayed at 6 months and then the trip ended. I came back, delivered the stuff, got the money.
So when you come back with you're not carrying anything. You're just going back to South Africa now.
No, I came back carrying the stuff. I went to collect the stuff.
Oh, you went to collect the stuff?
Yeah, the stuff is there to come here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get the stuff there.
Wow. And is this specific grade of sort of drugs? Is it like
it's
top
the
tier?
It's the top tier. It's the pure. It's not the mixed one.
It's not the mixed one that is down here. So it's actually...
It's from the farm. Colombia is the farm. It's where they farm it.
Is Colombia the farm? So Colombia is where they farm cocaine.
Yeah. So came back, delivered the stuff, got the money, but went back to drinking.
You drank 100K.
No, not actually. It was not. It did not even come to 100K because along the way there was some stuff that happened and I had to drop some few grams.
Yes,
but I didn't get the initial amount.
Oh.
But yeah, I got some cash. About 80, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 85. Yeah. So yeah, did some stuff. No, I didn't drink the whole money.
What did you do? What was the first couple of things that you did?
Actually, I said to my family that I was going for work. They knew that I'm working. So came back, gave my mother some money to sort out some stuff, did the rest and used the rest.
Wow.
for the lifestyle that I was
having.
living. Yeah, and I finished the money and then I'm back. I was back at the same.
How long
position.
did you take until Maria?
Man. Yo, I think maybe 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks.
It was just like day in and day out, and I'm sure all your friends came back and they were like
friends, girls,
So on the 4th week, what's happening to you?
I'm back at stage 1 again. I'm thinking for another plan now. Damn, but I must look for work or what must I do now? But yeah, again, those thoughts came. You are where you are. Why? Why are you living like this?
Why? Yeah.
At this point now, I became suicidal because the only thing I would think about, man, if I had some education, I would be working.
Yeah.
I would be earning some money.
Some money, yeah.
So, yeah. Was suicidal, wanted to commit suicide a couple of times, but yeah, it didn't happen by God's grace, thank God. Then I got a call again to travel, which I did travel again. And this trip now, it was very short. But during the time of going there, just a week before the trip, I wanted to change my life because I was just coming out of this encounter of wanting to commit suicide, and my sister took me to a church, and I started attending.
Where was the church?
The church was in Samora.
Samora,
because we moved to Samora now from Kailicha. So man, during that time I was like, damn, I need to change my life.
Yeah.
So I'll attend cell groups, and then I would hear the message, but the message was not clear. During that time of wanting to change, that is when the call came again for me
to go back.
To go back.
And are you going back to Brazil now?
Yeah, I'm going back to Brazil now.
And it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Are you stopping off in Buenos Aires?
I'm no longer afraid. I know the drill, you know.
And when you say short, it's a week or?
Yeah, it was. This one actually was just a month.
Just a month.
Yeah, it was a month. I remember. I think I stayed. It was November. I came back the last week of November. 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Wow.
So, bro, I was not feeling it, although I knew the drill to go there, to get there. But deep down, because of I already had this encounter of going to church and wanting to change.
Yeah.
But I just lied to myself again to say, you know what, I'm going to get this money. Then I'm just going to sort out some few things.
Yeah.
And go back to church.
Sure.
You know, no one will know.
No.
So yeah, and then during that time, staying in the hotel there, I was praying. Funny enough, I was praying, and although I never understood what I was praying, I didn't go to the clubs now in Brazil. I was just indoors.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't feel like going to the clubs.
Hey. God was really doing some work.
Yeah, I think God was already starting to work.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the clubs. I was just sitting.
Wow.
And I met some Jehovah's Witnesses even there in Brazil. And for the first time, I listened to them, you know.
Wow.
And then they started giving me some pamphlets. But I didn't understand anything during that time.
Because you couldn't read.
Yeah, couldn't read. I just took those pamphlets.
And it was also in Portuguese, so you were not.
No, they were in English.
Oh, in English?
Yeah, they were in English. Wow. So, but then I came back. Then I did not feel well on the plane. And then, arrived in OR Tambo. And I took out some of the drugs because I was not feeling well. And then I put them on my small slim bag. Then I texted the guy, and then I said, listen, I took off some drugs, man. I think I'm going to throw them away. And then he said, no, don't throw them away. I will send someone to collect them. And then as I was coming out, customs, you know, you have to pass through customs, get your luggage. And then they searched my stuff. And then as they were searching my stuff, asking, what were you doing? No, I was working in Brazil. And then just this guy, when he finished searching my stuff, it was a young guy, man. We were just chatting, you know. I think he was a new guy at the job. Me and him were just chatting, and then the older guy was sitting next to him. He asked him that, did he check me thoroughly? And then he said yes. And then the old man asked, did you check his bag, the one that is here? So I had my passport and everything, but the drugs were underneath. And then I was like, damn, this old man, what is he doing now? And then he said, come, let me see that bag. And then I took off the bag. I gave to him. And then when he lifted the stuff, he saw the drugs. And then he threw them on that silver desk there. He said, check. And then because of he knew that if I had those, there is others inside of me. And then he said, okay, where's the others? And then I said, no, it's only this one. He said, no, you're lying. Take me to a room. And then they said they would take me to the doctor. So they take you to the doctor to check you. Sure. And actually, I was shocked when I was at the doctor to see on the x-ray how the drugs are sitting inside of me. I was like, damn, these drugs, they're everywhere.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I got arrested. But when I got arrested, I said to myself, as this thing was happening, I was like, God, if I have to go this journey, I'll go this journey. But where I'm going, I will just want to know more about God. And then I got to this prison called Modabi. It's in Benoni in Johannesburg. Yeah, so my life started changing while I was at the awaiting trial.
Wow. How long did you stay there?
So I didn't stay long because I made up my mind that I'm going to plead guilty. I didn't want to delay the whole process because I felt like, man, I think I felt like I didn't need even to go, let me just face this thing. Let me not delay this thing. Let me get this thing done. I'm not rushing anyway,
Yeah.
So I pleaded guilty and everyone was shocked. Damn, this guy, guys were trying to convince me not to plead guilty. I was like, no, I did this. Why must I lie? And I've taken the step now to follow Christ. So I'm pleading guilty. During my time in trial, there was this other inmate who would always come on Saturday to preach to inmates, because he himself also he once served time.
Wow.
So he made a commitment that he will preach to those who are still in trial. So this time he came and he preached on Isaiah 43 verse 18 and 19, and telling us, that we should forget the past, forget the former things. See, God is doing a new thing. For the first time in my life, bro, I cried. Man. No, I just cried. I could not stop myself.
Yeah.
I went in front again. I understand now when people receive Christ, 3 times or 4 times.
Because you went again, because the first couple of times you did it as someone.
Yeah.
And now you've been convicted, you were doing it, again.
But this time, it was
sincere.
so sincere and so, there's something that happened, man. I felt the touch of God at that moment, and my life changed. And I decided on that day, listen, I'm doing this. I'm following God fully now. I'm not looking back. I don't care about friends. I don't care about people. I'm just gonna seek after God. This guy came the next week, and this time he was preaching about Peter, how he escaped the prison and how an angel delivered him out of the prison, and he spoke about the power of the Holy Spirit. And when I went back to the cell, I was like, damn, this power. I need to ask God, if this power can help me to read, I was just having this belief.
That's what you've been struggling with for most of your life.
Yeah, and then I just prayed a simple prayer to say, God, this man says that we can only know you through the word. And I believe you now, but I can't read the Bible. So help me. Yeah, help me to read this book.
Wow.
Yes, I won't say that the Holy Spirit just, no. I had to also confront. The other thing with this issue of me not being able to read was that I was also not taking the action to confront
the fact that
I can't read.
Yeah. You just kind of put it there. You felt bad.
Yeah.
It made you but you actually never confronted it.
Yeah. So I decided to confront it now. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna take the Bible. I'm gonna go to school. In prison, and then I'm gonna write. I'll take the dictionary. I'll take the Bible. I will really learn words step by step. I would ask even other inmates, listen, what does this word mean? I can't read, help me out. Those steps. And then eventually, I started developing this aptitude, to read more. And then I started reading, bro.
Sure.
And the only book I read for about
You taught yourself?
Yeah, I taught myself.
No.
And then I would write down some notes. Now I was teaching myself to write now, like spelling, Write down some notes, even write my own thoughts, of what I'm reading. Yeah. I would write down them. And then attended school. Then I changed from the section where I was to another section where it was a Christian section. So that is where even more transformation took place, because it was a Christian section. We had to do discipleship. We had to preach to other inmates, and they offered also theology there. So I read, man. I studied, and I was doing quite well, even more than the guys that were able to read or who finished matric.
You've been saved, now you are finding yourself in prison, you are teaching yourself how to read, and then you end up studying.
I ended up studying, and studying theology, and then the course was a 4-year course on the church, Maranatha Church in Kempton Park.
Wow.
Those were outside. They will study it for 4 years because it was a course that was done by the church outside. So they offered also to us. I was fortunate enough, I was amongst the guys that they saw that, I love the Lord. I sincerely, I just loved God, man. Even before the studies or before anything, I would just go to inmates and tell them about Jesus. And share with them, listen, God loves you, And I remember now the enemy attacked me because I remember preaching to this other guy who had swollen feet, and he told me that he was smoking drugs. And the whole week I was tormented because the enemy was saying that it's your drugs that caused that. Until someone spoke to me and said, no, God forgave you for that. You are born again now. That's when now I started understanding more about not
grace
being
and God's
condemned,
forgiveness.
grace, not living under condemnation, and how God forgives us. I moved through that, and then I received that. I'm like, no, man, God forgave me for that, And then I went out preaching the gospel, and people were being changed. God used us. We're 12 guys who were doing the studies, and then we graduated. My mother came from Cape Town on our graduation for the first time, and Pastor, one of my great pastors that I respect, I love his work, I love his testimony, Pastor Chris Matebula. He came at our graduation, he spoke there, and he spoke actually his story of how he was living in the streets. For years, until he taught himself also, because he was messed up by cocaine or glue. I think it was glue, not cocaine. Glue. He was smoking glue, and then his mind was not right, but he had to go through that process of teaching himself to read, at the age of, I think he finished his matric, I don't know, at the age of 23, but he was old when he started reading and writing. So his testimony that day, I was like, damn, all this time I thought I was alone.
The only one.
How crazy is that? All this time I was beating myself. So when I saw that man and heard his testimony and read about his life and saw him, I was like, damn, this is the kind of a life that I want to live. I want to go out and serve God, be a godly man, be a husband, serve. I'm still in that journey, So he's sort of like a person that I know that is possible, and he touched me by his testimony. So from then, man, I never looked back. Today I can read, today I can write. Came out 2017. My first week, I attended a church and I met this gentleman who gave me a flyer of this organization, The Message, which is where you met me.
The Message Trust. Love them.
Bro, when I got that flyer from this guy, I told myself, listen, I'm gonna go to this place, man. I'm a person who always like to take. I like to take action.
As soon as possible.
So when he gave me that flyer on Monday, I was there, and the prayer day, went there, shared my story, where I'm coming from. This is what I want to do. I want to be this leader that will serve the community. And I love what they were doing, helping ex-offenders. So I came at that time where they were about to open the mess. It was the mess. So I shared to them. I said, listen, I once worked at Kauai, and I know how to make coffee, but I was not proper. I didn't get the proper training. So I went for a barista training. And then I did well. Came back. We opened Gangster. Then
The Mess, actually.
The Mess, and then changed to Gangster.
And then it changed to Gangster,
which is from gang to star.
From gang to star.
So it's
gang was my past.
Gang was
star
my past. Star is the future. So man, I love that because I served. I served. It will be sort of like a platform for us to serve not only coffee, but to serve.
Also share your stories.
Share our stories with the people. Share the gospel as well, which is what I love.
Come on.
I love telling people about Jesus because today, bruh, I'm standing here and you have invited me, and I'm trusting God, whosoever that will listen, that the story of me overcoming, I call it a disability, because it was something that was actually blocking me, not to achieve my dreams or to be where I wanted to be in life. It took him to help me. So all glory and honor goes to God, goes to Jesus, our Lord. If it wasn't for him, meeting me where I was actually at my lowest, very darkest moments in my life, he helped me, he washed me, he cleansed me, bro, throughout everything that I've done, So serving him and working at the message, sharing the gospel I love that, I love that. Even today, I've decided to go on my journey to open my own business, which is Melusi Coffee from Shepard, but Melusi, because of the story how coffee was discovered. It was discovered in Ethiopia by a shepherd boy.
Come on.
And so use that for my brand.
Sure.
The business actually also is an idea that started while I was inside prison, because while I was sitting there, everyone during the time we were studying the theological course, you needed to find your purpose. You needed to find what is your assignment, what is that God has called you to do. So I struggled during those times, to discover, what am I supposed to do? But as during the course, we learned about how Paul actually was a tent maker. So I think during those modules, that's when I decided, if Paul was a tent maker so that he would support himself and his ministry, so that he won't be a burden to anyone, I could use this with a skill. And then I had to look, what skill do I have? Coffee. Not knowing that I was going to work for the message.
Not knowing.
But I had written down that I would open a business while I was still in prison. Wow. Even now, up to now, I have it. It's written down. Wow. But not knowing that I would work for gangster.
Sure.
So
they were going to open a coffee shop.
Yeah, not knowing, but I had this, I want to open a coffee shop, and the guy that also inspired me is Sihle. He's from Durban. First black guy who had a coffee shop in Joburg. Sihle. So I read his story. Sihle Brew. Sihle Brew. So I saw his coffee now. I saw his story on the Drum magazine, because you always had Drum magazine in prison. So when I saw Sihle Brew, I was like, damn, when I go out. And Sihle's story, he came from Durban. He worked in Joburg as a gardener. And then he got another job at the restaurant, and then he started developing that skill. So I did not know. So sometimes, and I remember saying this when I was at the message, for me to be there, I had this quote, this thing that came to my mind, it goes like, it was a divinely orchestrated opportunity. I had written something like that, because God knew, man, that He's going to...
your situation and the amazing work that they've been doing. And then you went on the entrepreneurship journey. I know it's been hard, but I must congratulate you for doing it and starting it and still seeing you still do it. Well done.
I'm trusting God, man, even in this journey. There's a scripture that is keep on comforting me, or whenever I'm feeling down, is in Proverbs 24. I think from verse 2 to 3, it says that wise people are builders. They build family. They build businesses. They build communities. That's the scripture that I got in 2020 when I was going to venture into this journey. Bro, it's not easy, but I've told myself that I want to build this business so that in the future I can employ
people,
young men specifically who are having the same challenge. Up to now, there are kids that can't read, can't write. the schools, I just recently met a lady who teaches at a school of skills. She told me how these young people are struggling to read, and how sometimes they behave impulsively, out of anger, frustration, And when she told me that, she didn't know that I had a similar background or story. No, my heart was broken. I was like, yo, and because I pick it up at that school, because I'm also doing Uber with my car. So, and then she told me the work that she's doing. I was like, listen, I had a similar condition, I had to teach myself. So I know exactly what are those kids going through. So this business, bro, is for me in the future to be able to go to the township, identify those boys, mentor them, give them work, give them a skill, but most importantly, share my story, share what Jesus did, and salvation also to them.
Wow.
Because, I think we really need to work towards that in this nation, especially with all the issues that we are facing in South Africa.
Yeah.
So we have to play our part, and try to help. And I think also is our assignment as born-again Christians, to reach out with the gospel, but also with practical solutions, to help to change our societies and our environment, our communities. Yeah.
I'm inspired by a story from not being able to read and write, dropping out of school, smuggling drugs, being caught, getting saved,
which was a blessing in disguise.
A blessing in disguise. Getting saved, and coming out working, but then now actually using your story and the ability that Uthixo has given you of entrepreneurship to actually now be a blessing to other young men who have gone through the same thing. I bless you.
Yeah, thank you. I receive, my brother, man.
I am very excited for what Uthixo will be doing in and through your life. Thank you for taking the necessary steps to do that.
We have to. It's not easy, but we have to, because it's not for us.
It's not for us.
It's for the next generation.
It's not for us.
It's for other people. Paul says that we should do everything without selfish ambitions. So whenever you aspire to be successful, or you have a dream, you say you have a dream. It's not for you. The dream is for the next generation.
It's not for you.
The dream of Joseph was not for him. It was for the nation of Israel. And what he did. So the dream, always God will give you a dream, and that dream will not be for you. If it's all about you, it's not. It's not from God. So the bigger picture for me is to see, man, is to meet someone, to say, listen, I'm struggling, I'm going through this, I can't read. Then I can have solution. I can come up, whether it's advice or show them a way.
Keep at it, my bro. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for being with us, and just for your life. Blessing to you, the wife, and the children as well.
Yes, my brother. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for the work that you guys are doing. It's a beautiful platform, and I pray that the Lord will just continue to increase you, to bless you, and whosoever is watching, to support this initiative, my brother. I like when you told me to come, I'm like, damn, I need to be there. I need to be there because God is involved, and if the Lord, anything that has to do with the work of God, I'm in. We have to spread the gospel. We have to tell people that there is a God that can save. These stories, it's not my story actually. It's the story about God.
That's how God saved you.
It's the story about God. Sure, bro. Thanks, man.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this specific episode of the Intentional Conversations podcast. Please leave some reviews leave some reviews on our YouTube page, but also if you are listening or streaming on Spotify or Apple Music or iTunes, please leave a good review. Give us a good 5 stars. Thank you for listening. See you soon. Blessings and love. Aye.